There are a lot of things that Buford, Georgia does differently than some of the other parts of the country and even some of the other parts of Metro Atlanta. For example, the public school system, the first day of the school year in 2024 is August 2nd. This is much earlier than some of the other places in the country. And if you're planning on moving here, especially if you're wanting to get here in time for your child or your student to start the school year, then you definitely need to realize that August 2nd is the start day for the school year. Actually, I'll put down in the description of this video a link to the school calendar for the public school system for Buford, Georgia. Check it out. You can see all the different holidays and the work days and the different when school is in and when school is out on that calendar. What's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living, and we put out videos every week about what it's like to live here in Metro Atlanta. If you're thinking about moving here or you just have any questions about what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. I'm happy to help with your moving needs to the Metro Atlanta area. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. But if you're thinking about moving to Buford, there definitely is a list of things that you need to know about before moving here. Some things about Buford are a bit different, so you want to keep these things in mind if you plan on buying a home here. For example, many of the homes in Buford have an HOA. This is super common for the homes in Buford to be part of a homeowners association. I'm not exactly sure the number, but I would guess something like 85, maybe 80% of the homes in Buford are in a neighborhood with an HOA, and those HOAs have a pool and tennis courts and a clubhouse. This is all very common here in Buford. And what I have seen is that many times people who are considering relocating to the Metro Atlanta area from other parts of the country, especially California or Texas or Miami, anywhere in Florida, actually, you very often, people from those areas say, hey, we don't want to live in an area or a home with an HOA. It's as if the HOAs in those cities or those states are terrible. And it's not really the case here in Metro Atlanta. For the most part, the HOAs here are much more hands-off than some of those other places. They're not going around yard to yard to measure the height of the grass to see if you're cutting the grass to the appropriate length or making sure that you're following all the rules. I mean, they do have rules, but they're not as difficult with the rules as some of those other places. For the most part, here in Metro Atlanta, these HOAs just exist to collect money for the pool and the tennis court and the clubhouse area. They're just there to provide these amenities. Again, they do have rules, but they're not as difficult, I don't think, as other parts of the country. The way that some people from California tell me about the HOAs there and how difficult they are, I've heard some horror stories about the HOAs in California. You just don't see that as often here. So to rule out HOA homes is really to limit yourself so much. When you come here to Georgia and you don't want to live in a home that's part of an HOA, it's really not a good idea, especially here in Buford where so many of the homes are in an HOA. You'd really be giving yourself a big disadvantage to not want to be in an HOA area. These HOAs are super cool. They're super safe. They're not trying to be difficult. They're much easier to find a home in an HOA than finding a home not in an HOA in Buford. Something else that you should know is that the distance from downtown Buford to Midtown Atlanta is about 36 miles. So on a good day, you might be able to make that drive in about 45 minutes. But on a bad day, you're looking at an hour and 15, maybe an hour and a half in rush hour traffic to get to work if you're living in Buford and working in Atlanta. So that's definitely something that you want to think about. If you plan on working within the city limits of Atlanta, you're either going to have a long commute to get to Atlanta, or you might want to live in one of the other suburbs of Metro Atlanta. Now, if you will be working from home, or if you'll be working from one of the cities that's nearby Buford, a common one is Norcross or Sandy Springs. There's a lot of economy there, a lot of businesses. This is much closer to Buford. So it really depends on where you'll be working and where you'll be living because you want to try to limit that commute as much as possible. For many people who move here from out of state, these trees that are super tall, the pine trees, they can be really like overwhelming. We have so many pine trees here everywhere, and people don't really expect to see so many tall pine trees in the suburbs. But the fact is that we have a lot of these pine trees. And when it comes to trees in general, we do have a lot of trees here in Metro Atlanta: hickory, maple, oak trees. The pine tree is the one that is the most likely to fall over and cause destruction. This means that if you have any pine trees near the home, they definitely need to be taken down. It's not a problem as long as the pine tree is not too close to the house. But if you're buying a home here in Buford and you have a pine tree within 50 feet or so of the home, it's definitely recommended that that pine tree is removed. Something else you should know about living in Buford is that it's super close to Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier is one of the largest lakes in all of Georgia, possibly the largest lake. And this is an area where you can find lots of outdoor activities: fishing, swimming, people in boats all the time out there on Lake Lanier. There really is no end of things to do on Lake Lanier. It's really one of the highlights of living in this area and a big reason why so many people move here. Lake Lanier is super fun and it's super crowded, especially during the summer days. I think it's Memorial Day where it's like the opening day for lake season. And so this is definitely one of the best parts of living in this area. And then something else you should know about Buford is the cost of living. Right now, in the last 90 days, the average price for a home in Buford has been about $550,000 to $575,000 for a home. You certainly can find homes as low as $400,000, maybe even $350,000 in Buford, and as high as $3 or $4 million. So definitely a big range of home prices here in Buford. And then the average days on market for a typical listing here is about a week or so. Right now we're in the winter months, so I certainly would expect that to become less in the spring. There would be more demand for homes in the spring, which means that the average amount of time that a listing would sit on the market is lower when there's higher demand. But right now in the wintertime, it's about a week is average for a listing before it goes under contract. It is a high demand area. There are a lot of people who want to move here to Buford. So that's definitely something that you want to think about. If you're looking to like get a deal on a home, Buford's not really an easy place to get a deal on a home, like to pay less than the assessed value or the appraised value. Doesn't really happen a whole lot here in Buford because there are so many people who are moving here. There really is a lot of demand for this area. If you want a full breakdown of what you should expect for monthly expenses here in Buford, check out this video. I'll see you there.